You're only allowed a certain number of flips before people begin to doubt your character. And I think Romney exhausted his quota some time back.
Romney will be the nominee and will lose.
He voted for Tsongas, and then he was the anti-Reagan Bush Republican running against Teddy Kennedy. That was before he became the moderate progressive governor, who is now, of course, the conservative, because he's always been a conservative, because when he was secretly not a conservative, it was only because he was in Massachusetts.
Someone who's just going to be a little different than the person in there. If they're going to be a little different, we might as well stay with what we have, instead of taking a risk of what may be the etch-a-sketch candidate for the future.
As governor of Massachusetts, why didn't you run for re-election? I mean, if you didn't want to even stand before the people of Massachusetts and run on your record, if it was that great, why did you bail out?
The best thing to do is just get everything out in the open and just say, hey, I have nothing to hide, and I'm going to release my tax returns.
The message we should give Mitt Romney is, you know, we aren't that stupid and you aren't that clever.
They're hiding it from the IRS for a reason, and I don't know what the
reason. Is it hiding, or if it's legal, is it putting your money in a smart place?
This out, it's hiding because the Swiss do not report to the U.S. IRS. And there's a reason to do it. I can't figure out what it is.
If he had 20 years of great, clean, everything's fine, it'd all be out.
And I might say to my colleague, Senator Kyle, if we have 1 year's income tax, even 2 years' income tax from Mitt Romney, that fails to meet the minimum requirement that Republican senators insisted for every Obama nominee for the cabinet that they had to produce.
Tax returns. Should he release the tax returns?
I would.
He should release the tax returns tomorrow. It's crazy. You've got to release 6, 8, 10 years of back tax returns.
I would find it pretty hard to justify rich people figuring out clever legal ways to loot a company, leaving behind 1,700 families without a job.
Governor Romney has claimed to have created 100,000 jobs at Bain, and people are wanting to know, is there proof of that claim, and was it U.S. jobs created for United States citizens?
Mr. Romney should release more years of his tax returns?
It would be prudent to do so. He may be able to create jobs, but I don't think too many more in the United States.
Obviously, the bottom line for Bain was making money. It wasn't about helping the people of South Carolina. It wasn't about trying to keep these people employed.
There's mandates in Massachusetts, although you've backed away from mandates on a national basis.
No, I like mandates. The mandates work.
Beg
your pardon? Let me
know you were going to admit that.
No, absolutely.
You like mandates.
Let me tell you what kind of mandates I like, Fred, which is this.
The ones you come up with.
It's the ultimate insult for Mitt Romney to come to South Carolina and tell you he feels your pain, because he caused it.
On the big issues of the day, like health care and on energy, where Governor Romney's just been dead wrong on those issues for years and years and years, and it would be probably the worst candidate for us to nominate to go after Barack Obama on gas prices and on government takeover of health care. Heck, he created the blueprint for the government takeover of health care that President Obama followed.
He's still the most anti-immigrant candidate?
I think of the four of us, yes.
No whining in politics. Stop demanding an apology. Release your tax returns.
If there's anything in there that is going to help us lose the election, we should know it before the nomination. And if there's nothing in there, why not release it? I mean, it's a very simple model. There's a breathtaking scale of dishonesty underlying the Romney campaign.
Steel manufacturer here in South Carolina. Mitt Romney's going to have a hard time coming into South Carolina and making the people here think that he's anything other than just a rich Wall Streeter who took advantage of their businesses. People lost their jobs, they lost their pensions, they lost a lot.
I don't see where he's creating anybody's jobs.
A man who wants to run for President of the United States who can't be honest with the American people. Why should we expect him to level about anything if he's president?
$50 abortion subsidized by Romney Care. And if you're low income, they're free.
You would certainly have to say that Bain at times engaged in behavior where they looted a company, leaving behind 1,700 unemployed people.
Put out as much information as you can. Even if you don't release 12 years worth of tax returns, at least 3, 4, 5.
But can we drop a little bit of the pious baloney? The fact is, you ran in '94 and lost. That's why you weren't serving the Senate with Rick Santorum. The fact is, you had a very bad re-election rating. You dropped out of office. You had been out of state for something like 200 days preparing to run for president. You didn't have this interlude of citizenship while you thought about what to do. You were running for president while you were governor. You were going all over the country. You were out of state consistently. You then promptly re-entered politics. You happened to lose to McCain, as you had lost to Kennedy. Now you're back running. You've been been running consistently for years and years and years. So this idea that suddenly citizenship showed up in your mind, just level with the American people. You've been running for at least since the 1990s. I don't know of any American president who's had a Swiss bank account. I'd be glad for you to explain that sort of thing.
Went to be his ambassador in China. This nation is divided, David, because of attitudes like that.
He won't be able to ignore or answer and avoid answering the questions in the fall. And as a result, he will be the weakest candidate we could possibly put forward.
The Romney machine can drive down turnout. It can run over opponents with negative ads. It doesn't seem capable of inspiring positive turnout. And the result is, I think, very, very worrisome if you're thinking about the fall campaign.
A photo album and a framing business. And those people are out of work today after Bain Capital basically gutted the company. Took, I believe, $20 million of profit out of it, and people lost their jobs.
There's obviously something there, because if there was nothing there, he would say, have at it.
Then maybe you're doing things wrong. I think you ought to be willing to release everything to the American people.
This is the kind of fundamental dishonesty that has just continued to come back and bite the Romney campaign.
To have bad policy. It's another thing to mislead the American public. But the governor does this on a variety of subjects, where he says, oh, no, you just don't understand.
My firm belief that what Mitt Romney and Bain Capital did to Kansas City will never be recovered.
Are you calling Mitt Romney a liar?
Yes.
Mitt Romney's never worried about a pink slip. Well, he might have worried about not having enough of them to hand out in places like Gaffney, South Carolina.
I'm just saying this flatly because you've been walking around this state saying things that are untrue.
So wherever you go, whatever they care about there is what you're for.
Let me be very clear, because I understand your technique, which you used on McCain, you used on Huckabee, you've used consistently, okay? It's unfortunate, and it's not going to work very well because the American people see through it.
Tell you he wants to come in and help this country. He'll raid this country just like he did this company. That's what he does.
Mitt Romney's losing at this point in a big way. If something's going to come out, get it out in a hurry. I do not know why, given that Mr. Romney knew the day that McCain lost in 2008 that he was going to run for president again, that he didn't get all of this out and tidy up some of his offshore accounts and all the rest.
He argued that there should be mandates at the federal level and that people should pay taxes if they don't get insurance.
Here's what Romney's political pals at the Wall Street Journal editorial board thought. They said it makes his campaign look confused and politically dumb.
And it is inaccurate. And if I had something in the super PAC that was supporting me that was inaccurate, I would go out and say, stop it. That you're representing me and you're representing my campaign. Right. Stop it.
President Obama said that he designed Obamacare after Romney Care and basically made it Obamacare.
Stop the idea of Obamacare. That's the best way to save money, not the military.
But hold on one second, because Ron Paul wants to respond to that point.
Well, they're not cutting anything out of anything. All this talk is just talk.
Why would we put someone up who is uniquely, pick any other Republican in the country? He is the worst Republican in the country to put up against Barack Obama. Why would Wisconsin want to vote for someone like that?
There's clearly a problem with the tax returns. Otherwise, he would release, 10 years of tax returns.
While Mitt Romney was at Bain Capital, almost 1 out of every 4 company they were involved in either went bankrupt or out of business.
Mitt Romney doesn't care about American jobs anymore or anything else. It's all about the money for him. I mean, he made a bunch of money shutting that place down and junking it out.
Somebody who's very wealthy comes in, takes over your company, takes out all the cash, and leaves behind the unemployment. I think that's not a model we want to advocate, and I don't think any conservative wants to get caught defending that kind of model.